week after the Christmas tornado, another weather emergency is threatening the southeast. Up to half a metre of rain has smashed parts of the Gold Coast, flooding roads and homes.
Of relentless rain.
What happened, buddy?
All the way down there.
What the
Josh Northeast woke to his sister's
That's our exit right there.
knee-deep water rising rapidly.
That has come up in like half an hour, if that. That is just ridiculous.
Campers rescued and taken to higher ground as large parts of the Gold Coast went underwater. The amount of rain staggering, 480 millimetres was recorded in Currumbin Creek in 24 hours. In the hinterland, in excess of 200 millimetres. In tatters.
27 years we've been here and we've put our heart and soul into this house. To watch it just crumble is heartbreaking.
The heartbreak on street after street. The water rushing through Oxenford Weir.
We're just thinking about we just keep getting hit.
Roofs that were damaged in the Christmas Day tornado are now leaking on New Year's Day flooding. The new year starting how 2023 ended.
Mentally, it's been challenging. 6 days without power.
Bring on 2025.
At the mercy of wild weather. Asking the Australian Defence Force to assist because this weather event is not over yet. The Gold Coast has been warned to expect up to 250 millimetres of rain in 24 hours, and so much water has already fallen in creeks and rivers. They are saturated, and we're being warned there could be rapid rises if we do see more bursts of torrential rain. Gold Coast evacuation centres have now opened with so many homes unlivable after first the Christmas Day tornado and now this.
Even some of the biggest roads were hit by the deluge, the Pacific Motorway living up to the name as cars were brought to a crawl. Logan was also lashed by the storm. In Wolfdeans,
flash flooding alerts have been activated across Queensland after the state's southeast was battered by severe storms yesterday. Roads have been turned into rivers and rivers into rapids as heavy rain inundated suburbs between Gympie and Coolangatta. Bailey McKenzie has the details from Oxenford Weir.
These new severe weather warnings have just been updated in the past half hour or so. The affected areas, Wide Bay, Burnett, Brisbane and right here on the Gold Coast. The forecast is possible isolated rainfalls of up to 350 millimetres in the 24-hour period. Just yesterday in parts of the Gold Coast like Springbrook, it reached tops of 500 millimetres of rain.
Good evening. Parts of Queensland still recovering from the Christmas night tornado have been slammed again.
Across the Gold Coast, over 370 millimetres of rain for places like Pimpama and Upper Coomera. A big one, though, has been Currumbin Creek, 571 millimetres of rain over the past 24 hours. We can tell you that this had a dazzling display on New Year's Eve. But shortly after, ominous signs of what was to come. The glitter strip on edge once again and rightfully
It's huge. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Oh, this is torrential. I've just had to go out because we've got no service. And we couldn't even phone to get SES to our house.
In Wurundjeri, Jonathan Kinderman's house was inundated.
It was something out of a movie, really.
Water climbed his walls, while in Tamborine Mountain, roads turned to rivers. Overnight rainfall totals were truly staggering.
Over the past 24 hours, we've seen
horses needed help too when their home was surrounded, not to mention man's best friend.
The equivalent Christmas period last year, we had 38,000 lightning strikes. For the same time this year, we had 3.5 million.
A similar sight in northern New South Wales, more than a dozen flood rescues, flash flooding and towns cut off, with some parts receiving more than 300 millimetres of rain over 24 hours.
Please make sure that if you are camping, that if possible you move to higher ground.
Because more is on the way. A not so happy new year.
It really is, Dom, and I think, quite frankly, people here on the Gold Coast are exhausted because how we've started 2024 is how we ended 2023, battling unforeseen weather events. The heavy rain that lashed the Rain that lashed the coast last night is the last thing that recovery crews needed following the destruction caused by the tornado which ripped through our city, particularly the northern suburbs. Now, thousands still remain without power tonight and many have been plunged back into darkness. Our theme parks, Movie World and Wet n Wild, were again shut down today due to flooding and debris. Really tough for them because this is typically their busiest time of the year.
Let's bring in Lily Greer now. Lily, what are the latest warnings?
Well, Dom, it's been spitting in Brisbane for much of the day, but I can tell you where we are in South Brisbane, the rain really has picked up in the last couple of minutes. We are in the summer of storms and it is not over yet. There is more rain on the way. There's a severe weather warning in place for everywhere from Coolangatta all the way up to Gympie. That's talking about when we are going to see a reprieve here. It's not coming tonight. It's not coming tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, in fact, the Bureau is predicting it could be the peak of this wet weather, but tomorrow evening it could become a little patchier, and then Thursday is looking like the best day of the week where we might see some sunshine peek through before it gets rainy again on the weekend. Dom, we are going to have your full...
Well, here in Murwillumbah behind me, this residential park and showground are both underwater following what was a New Year's deluge. Right now, flash flooding is affecting many towns in the northern rivers. Residents in Tumbulgum were cut off for hours, no way in or out as the Tweed River swell up.
There's a lot of noise, like thunder and lightning, and it was just continuous. It was frightening.
Flood affected Queensland, saying bring in the ADF, we need the help now. State government seems to be sort of passing the buck and saying they don't make decisions on those things. We're going to hear more on those calls coming up. Thanks, Sam.
Parts of New South Wales have received well over a month's worth of rain in just 48 hours. Authorities in the
400 in Tulgum. New Year's camping plans rained out, debris washed through the centre of towns, main roads cracked and crumbling under the weight of water, leaving small towns cut off. Crews now watching Corrakai and Bunga Walban, where the Richmond River could reach minor flood levels overnight, but the situation is far better than what was feared. Our neighbours to the north not yet out of the woods, flood warnings in place for the Gold Coast and surrounding areas where dozens of people have needed to be rescued and homes and businesses inundated. Not even a water park able to withstand the heavy falls. The wild weather 50 Army personnel will be deployed to Queensland on Thursday to help with recovery.
Well, Melbourne has been lashed by severe afternoon thunderstorms with heavy rain, hail and damaging winds hitting the city and suburbs. The wild weather also caused widespread flash flooding and left thousands without power. Stephanie Anderson has more.
From the city to the suburbs, the dark clouds rolled in and unleashed their fury. Big hailstones battered Bendigo just before 3 p.m, falling hard in front yards and backyards. In Ballarat, the rain hit fierce and fast. The same too in Lancefield, where gutters and driveways copped a drenching. At Tullamarine, it was too dangerous to work on the tarmac, with the airport grinding to a halt. There, 10 millimetres fell in 10 minutes and Coldstream copped 46 in half an hour. From Sydenham to Seville, roads quickly resembled muddy rivers, and while train services and power connections were impacted, the overwhelmingly outdoors inconvenience became an inside problem at Bacchus Marsh. 700 Energy Queensland crews out in force today, targeting Tamborine Mountain and Jimboomba, where households have been in the dark for more than a week. No power means no income for small businesses there. And then there's the damage bills.
Ashlyn, we've been slammed with a relentless rain bomb and reprieve, right, but we are being urged to not become complacent because...
From one end of the coast to the other and across the Darling Downs, Mother Nature unleashing her wrath. Communities still scrambling to recover from wild weather earlier in the week, watching on with dread as another round of storms rolled in. In Tara, balls of ice the size of golf balls smashing homes and cars. Wind gusts in excess of 90 kilometres an hour recorded at Gympie, near Burrum on the Sunshine Coast, recording 110 millimetres of rain in just 2 hours. Flash flooding at Gold Coast theme parks giving new meaning to the name Wet and Wild. A lightning bolt even taking out a chunk of a building in Coolangatta. In Jimboomba, a man lucky to be alive after a tree fell and crushed his tractor.
These storms are popping up, they are short notice and they are moving through an area quite quickly.
More than 15,000 homes plunged into darkness from Gympie to Clontarf. Destructive winds and lightning bringing down 65 power lines. More than 36,000 homes now without electricity across the state. The Bureau this week under intense scrutiny, the government announcing a review into possible gaps in the nation's emergency warning system.
Every single disaster we've reviewed and sought to get better.
Well, successive weather disasters in far north and southeast Queensland are projected to cause $2 billion in economic loss for the state. He says at least 1,300 homes and counting have been damaged across the two regions and almost 50,000 insurance claims. Mr Dick says he doesn't expect serious impacts on the state's budget, but helping tourism operators to recover will be a priority for the government.